Who's your favorite league champ? I'm gonna say Aphelios.
Why?
200 years.
I mean, we're all pro players, so we just play whatever's meta. I'd say probably Trundle, not because I enjoy it, I'm just good at the champ. So, but if it's like for enjoyment, Lee Sin, Silas, these kind of champs.
What was your first league username? I don't actually remember what username I used first. I had a lot of names. I don't know.
Like, were you up to?
No, that was later.
That was later?
Yeah. I used to have like the name Wizig, so I think that was the name we used. But I'm not even entirely sure. I think I'm getting too old to remember things.
I don't even remember my names before Centaur or anything. I remember on Counter-Strike though, that was rename every second day or something. So.
I remember mine was, like I didn't think I was gonna play League again. So my name was I Am Too Buff. But I spelled the 2 wrong. It's just 1-0. And yeah, it was like a joke between me and my cousins. Obviously not buff, so I had to change it.
Dude, you were kidding. I thought you were trolling, but you're...
Oh, wow, actually, like, maybe it's Yuumi. How do you feel about Yuumi?
Wow! I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Just like my pregame ritual, probably something.
I was either gonna say taking a or playing a warm-up game.
Working out / music.
You don't listen to music before the game.
Like once in a while. I didn't listen to music today.
You never wear your earbuds before games.
So it's mostly working out, to be honest.
Okay.
If you don't know this, then you're cringe and we're not friends.
What?
Yeah.
Is it people breaking into your home?
No. It's bugs. Bugs, bro.
You would be streaming, dude. You better have written that. What did you write?
Working in gaming or boring like lab job.
Oh, you told me this recently.
We talked about it.
We talked about it. The Prestige?
Whoa! Who would I want to be in real life?
Ornn.
Pantheon. Giga
I was actually thinking about someone who's strong.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Set or something.
Oh, Set's pretty cool too. It was a
Set
flip.
is kinda,
it was like a flip 1 in 160.
That's kind of sexy. Is it just like taking right before we have practice every day?
Dude, come on, no, that's not my worst. That's actually a good habit. I like that.
Never being on
Does that
time?
count as yes? Never being on time? Who's just slaving me?
It counts, no.
That doesn't count. I said can be rude and toxic.
You'd get a car, for sure, because you guys only have one car.
I said electric car, bigger house, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My stepmom said your house is the biggest house she's ever been in, and she compared it to a castle. Is it like the magic tricks? The card tricks?
It's remembering almost every SpongeBob episode.
Path of Exile.
Oh, he's right! I put Dark Souls 3! This is actually before I started playing Path of Exile.
I know him better than he does.
Yeah, I know.
What do I ban in solo queue every single game?
How am I supposed to
So
know
you
what
don't
ban?
watch me play? I'm sitting right
I'm
next to
really
you all
trying-
day.
no, I'm
every
really
day,
trying to
just
think,
playing League of Legends.
Does he ban?
And banning the same champion.
Yasuo?
Katarina, bro!
No! How did I not know?
I don't play against Katarina.
His pregame ritual, which is, I don't know what you do. It's like some sort of like meditation and music and earphones and just ignoring your whole team.
No, it's music.
Yes, it was music. I knew it. Like, did you answer like deeply? You know,
It's
like
kinda
thoughtfully?
deep, yeah.
It's kind of deep. Is it disappointing people? No.
I wrote growing old.
Whoa, that is. Mine was bugs.
There's two
Yours
people on this
Yours is
planet.
like the fear of mortality
Yeah.
and death and like.
You're like,
okay.
I hate those bugs in Playa Vista. This is like sort of a meme answer.
It's sort of a meme answer. Dude, no way. Did you put streaming?
Flipping burgers, bro.
Okay, this is okay. Bro, based on your answers to it, we have the same favorite movie, I was gonna guess The Prestige because I thought we had the same favorite movie. We talked about this. No?
I'll actually
Fuck it,
let you in
man.
because I feel like I can't really put it because I haven't watched that movie in so long, but I remember the first time I watched it, it was like very impactful.
Like, when you answered this question, did you think about like if you could like be that person in the real world?
Yep.
Then Zillion, because then you could reverse time and you could live forever. You would never grow old.
I really see that because I can just teleport. But also,
you can never be
TF
late?
makes more money.
Surely.
What?
Surely it's being late. If it's not being late, I don't know what to say.
It's biting my nails when I'm stressed.
What? You do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Literally,
that.
like, ever since you know me.
Oh, dude, I'm just gonna immediately blurt out my answer. Is it a house?
Hell yeah.
Let's go! You have other talents?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm thinking. Chess?
Being a good cat dad.
What the heck?
Dude, I don't have any talents. No.
Are you better being a cat dad or better at chess?
I suck at chess.
Dude, if I get this wrong,
Bro,
then
I even wrote 2 options.
Dark
so.
Souls. It has
I
to
wrote
be.
Chess or Dark Souls series. Okay.
Yeah, it's Dark Souls.
I don't really play that many
No,
other
he
games.
doesn't.
So.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for game number 3. CLG going up against 100 Thieves, and we have a very special guest today from 100 Thieves themselves, Mr. Jack Courage Dunlop joining the broadcast here for the TriCast. Welcome, Courage.
Man, this is a dream come true. I do want to clear the air. I am not standing on a box right now.
No.
We are all the same height.
Of course.
So without,
I'm actually on the box.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I need that. But no, this is an incredible honor. I've been playing League of Legends. I'm actually the best Ahri gold mid laner of all time. I am a Firefox Ahri fan.
Yep.
And this will be completely an unbiased cast. I actually have my match favorites here today. The jersey right in front of me.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well,
CLG, baby.
Is Nate gonna let you go if he sees that?
It's fine. I have security here with me.
All right.
Is one scrawny man, so I'm not worried about it.
match number 6 of the day, Nade Shot versus Courage in the parking lot.
Boxing has been big. Boxing has been big. But
We've seen chess boxing. What about league boxing?
folks, who would watch that?
There we go.
I would. And you two fight? You two fight?
I'm going to be the announcer.
Yeah.
I'll Bruce
need
Buffer it for
I'm
you.
a lover, not a fighter. You know? Yeah.
Good. But no, this match today, so excited. So thank you to everyone here at LCS for making it possible. For you two for even letting me be up here. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm never really nervous on broadcast, but right now I'm definitely scared.
I mean, you're a vet. You've been casting Fortnite. You've been casting Call of Duty. So it's gonna come right back to you. It's like riding a bike. Easy peasy. We'll get in there. You know, you'll just get flowing.
And I'm already impressed with you because you are the first guest caster, because I have offered it to every other guest caster that we've had to let them take a play-by-play for a fight or two.
It's about to be a pop-up.
And
It's
you're
about to
the
be
first
rap
one
god.
who actually agreed.
I can't wait. Trust me.
That's a Chad play.
I'm not worried about that at all. I'm most impressed right now. We have two near 40-year-old men on the stage. There's one of them, Bjergsen and Doublelift. You know, actually at the venue, they drive our rookies because both of them are so young that they have to either ride a bicycle or walk to the venue. So thankfully they take a shout out Ryan Marty right there on stage looking handsome. This is going to be a fun matchup. Looking forward to this because 100 Thieves, I think, for most people would be the favorite coming into this one.
Yeah.
But we've lost a couple games in a row, and I'm hoping CLG keep it close. I'm looking forward to seeing this squad run it back this year.
I mean, CLG's been a team that's been very volatile so far. They've had some high highs, they've had some low lows. And 100 Thieves, I think still a lot of people have eyes on you guys for being one of those competitors for the top spots. FlyQuest is currently the runaway from the rest of the pack, but 100 Thieves has been going blow for blow with a lot of teams.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, trying to keep pace with EG and C9 and those teams at the top of the table. And I think you would have been the heavy favorites if it wasn't for CLG looking better yesterday, because they were on that 4-game losing streak. They came in yesterday, they took down TL. Was a bit of a pop-off game for Dhokla, who looked great on the Irelia. So I think a little bit of confidence building there for CLG, much to your dismay, unfortunately.
Hey, no, I think it's great. The boys need it, right? We have two rookies on stage for 100 Thieves. We have two of the NA LCS League of Legends GOATs, and then we have closer. So for me, I want to see him tested, especially this early on. Right now is the time to be tested, right? I think for most people, a 4-3 start for 100 Thieves, especially with this lineup with Bjergsen and Doublelift coming back from the old folks' home. It's something that I think everyone's kind of happy with it overall. Okay. Could it have been a bit better? Sure. I think the guys would love to get that match back against EG yesterday. Had some opportunities to win there, but had some unfortunate fights that didn't go our way. But either way, they kept their heads in it versus them as well as FlyQuest.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of positive things from the rookies. You know, Busio and Tenacity have been playing super aggressive, have been playing, mechanically really proficiently.
Yeah.
You know, are going to benefit from that experience. Doublelift and Bjergsen trying to work the kinks out of their knees a little bit, trying to get the joints moving there, stay flexible.
Well, alrighty, gentlemen, it's time to hop into Champion Select. Some early marksman focus from both sides. 100 Thieves banning away that Ashe at the very beginning. Caitlyn banned out by CLG. The ever-popular Sejuani in the jungle. Going to be deemed important enough to ban away in the first half of the draft, this time by the Thieves.
And I'm not surprised to see a Caitlyn ban. I mean, Doublelift has looked so confident on Caitlyn. I even love that. He'll go in. He'll just call. They did a few of the team comms on the 100 Thieves League of Legends YouTube channel. And you can still see right now the boys are still trying to gel, right? At times, Doublelift is maybe getting a little bit far ahead of the rest of the squad. They're not playing with as much confidence. Tenacity had a couple fights where he was late, especially in the EG and FlyQuest matches. So they're still finding their spot as a Jinx ban comes in. I think that there's still a lot of room for improvement for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also interesting to see the Jinx come out because, you know, that hasn't really been the meta, but it is a bit of a Doublelift ban. He did bring it out yesterday. Zeri's the other one if they really want to try to focus heavily on Doublelift, because all of the wins for 100 Thieves have either been on Zeri or that Caitlyn has looked really, really strong in the team fights on the Zeri, and that's something that we know 100 Thieves are comfortable going towards.
2 marksmen, 1 support, 2 junglers banned out so far. The Elise just never allowed onto Summoner's Rift these days, and we're going to complete it with a jungle ban, so they're not going to fully invest in the targeting Doublelift strategy. Maokai, just whenever you're on red side, if you leave him open, you feel like you're giving him away guaranteed for that first pick on blue. Over on 100 Thieves, there's all the options in the world for them to go for. Obviously, Tenacity will hover a couple of different champions. It would be fun for him to play, but picking a solo laner first in the draft is pretty much unheard of, so I'm not falling for the bamboozle here just yet. Instead, it will be that Zeri that was left open, locked in for double.
Yeah, absolutely. He's 3-0 on the pick so far. His team fighting has been really, really strong. We'll see if CLG want to do any sort of a takeaway of Lulu, because that's the pairing we know 100 Thieves are going to be going for. But if not, you know, there's a lot of options for them as well. We have been seeing a lot of Lucian Nami, but it's not really something that Luger is as comfortable with. He strikes me more as someone who want to be going more to the Sivir side of the matchup and kind of looking for that scaling. And Sivir Lulu would be a great pair.
Well, Lulu picked right away. You know, Lulu for me, every time I face her, I'm the guy that gets baited where I see a player that's right on the edge, right about to die, and then Lulu comes in, fight gets flipped, 4-1 of the surrender vote at the 15-minute mark. held captive forever. Shout out all my, you know, hard stuck golds out there. But no, there's a Lulu Sivir. Hey, it's like you do this for a living. You perfectly called it. Unbelievable.
He's pretty good at these.
Yeah. Hey, chills.
Here's the thing. I know a guy. Freak just went over to the balance team. Maybe we can hook you up with some Ari buffs.
You got the inside man.
Freak, please. I first met Freak when I went to MLG Providence 2011. And I think I was watching Scar on Dig at the time.
When Freak was only 52.
50? Really? Oh, yeah. I thought he was at least in his 60s. But I talked to Freak all about his favorite champs. I got to give a shout out to Freak in Rivington, who at that time gave me the time of day. I was just a young fan, just getting into League of Legends. I've been playing on and off for the last 12 years now. And I still remember that very vividly. So shout out to those two.
Hell yeah, man. Freaking Riv, great dudes. And we've got the Jarvan locked in for closer here on 100 Thieves. Remember, still technically a flex. We talked about it a little bit last game. This could still potentially go top for Tenacity if they want to switch that up. Expecting it to be in the jungle. The Soraka locked in for 100 Thieves. Remember, we see Soraka, our brains always go to heals, but it's the silence that often ends up standing out as the big turning point in some of these plays.
And it's actually a really strong laner. You know, a lot of people will actually neglect leveling up the heal until a couple levels in, you know, put a lot more points in queue. And it does have a lot of laning prowess here, as opposed to something like the Sona we've seen people go towards in these situations. I actually really am a fan of Soraka. And the silence works incredibly well with Jarvan's ult, because you dunk him into the Cataclysm, you throw down the silence on top, and it's a guaranteed route coming out.
And I also really like the fact that Sivir can be a little bit of a tough champ to lock down and stay sticky on, but when you put her in the middle of a ring, it can be a little bit easier to get some lockdown finally on her, especially with that spell shield. So far, I think pick and ban looking all right. I like seeing closer on the playmaking type champ.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been a Vi fan, though. Vi, Lulu, point and click, ultimate. You know, point and click abilities and lockdowns are pretty good in League of Legends. I just realized. I just realized after watching Maokai.
Why are you playing Ari? All those skill shots.
Yeah, man. You miss those.
Because I'm humbly the greatest player of all time. But let's focus on the game here.
Right, yeah, we got to focus on these guys, right? We got the Jax, we got the Akali band away. It is the jungle plus bottom laner first half of the draft that we've come to know and expect in the current state of League of Legends in Season 13. Jax and Renekton double bans up there towards Tenacity from CLG. The Akali band away from Palafox. We know that he likes to play aggro into some of these mid lane matchups, go for the kill lanes. Akali is also sometimes the thing that's picked into the Azir if Azir is going to be your choice. If you want to go for the kill lane there.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing that they may be picking blind here, you know, for 100 Thieves, we're assuming that Bjergsen is probably going to be picking blind. You know, usually he's saving 5th pick for mid on the side of CLG. But with both Dhokla and Tenacity being guys who are down to go for carries, it could be a blind hit pick here for Palafox. And I'm really excited to see these two top laners going at each other, because they're both really aggressive. They're not afraid of going for those 1v1s. And something that's been really exciting about watching Tenacity this year is that he'll throw down. No matter who it is, he's going to go right at you.
Oh, it's a couple solo kills already in multiple games for Tenacity. Irelia coming on out now. We'll see how 100 Thieves fills out their roster here. Again, if you guys are just tuning on in, this is 100 Thieves versus CLG. It's day 2 of Super Week here at the LCS studio. My friend Andrew just bought himself a Teemo hat. Got to give him a shout out here in the crowd. My friend Nick is also here. He has no idea what's going on in League of Legends, but he's here supporting his boy. He needs
Hell yeah, I love that.
So it's awesome. And this is my first time in the studio since the changes, and it is absolutely beautiful as the lock-in for Azir is there. 1 pick left for each side.
Yeah, you called it Flowers, the Akali getting banned out. There is potential, though, of a Yone as an answer. We've seen that already a couple times in the last couple days, and Palafox is one of the guys who's down to go to the Yone. So I wouldn't be shocked to see CLG, going towards that. It would make them very physical damage heavy, but this is going to be exciting. Gwen versus Irelia in the top lane here.
All right,
so
let's
2 carries. These guys going to be going at it.
Now, for Poome to pick up this mid laner for Palafox, I want to see the Yone. I really want to see the Yone here.
That's not Yone.
That's not Yone, but I'm not going to be bamboozled just yet. I'm not going to be bamboozled just yet.
That's not Yone either.
We're going to have to see. Come on, CLG. What'll it be?
It's also not Yone.
Come on. We know what he looks like. That's a samurai. Okay. A little bit of a different choice instead. Taliyah going to go with some of that powerful roaming opportunity, try to affect the rest of the map better than Bjergsen can.
Yeah, so to be fair, I think they were worried about potentially going full physical damage here, but it does give them a really strong ability to play towards the side lanes. You already talked about it, Jack. The Vi with that point and click lockdown, but you can also bring Taliyah out. Taliyah, Vi overloading one side of the map, really trying to get Dhokla ahead, put Tenacity in these 1v3 situations where he's going to have coverage from his team. Closer are going to have to be there. Bjergsen going to have to be there to cover him on these dives.
And look, coming into this one, I don't think, for me, there's a super heavy favorite looking at this pick and ban. I guess I'm happy the chat is spamming 100 for 67% in favor of our pick ban and champ select here. But look, the story is right there, right? The CLG team, they have a big win yesterday. They're coming on into it. They have an opportunity to fight up against the 100 Thieves team that's coming off of 2, honestly, pretty tough losses. I think both teams here with a great opportunity to have a mid-season defining type of win here. 100 Thieves would go to 5-3, would stop their skid. CLG with a win against, I would say, a favored team, up against the favored team in 100 Thieves would be a great momentum boost for them as well.
I mean, absolutely. Both of these squads could feel really good about this, especially with it being Super Week, still having another game to play tomorrow.
Yes.
Momentum, confidence, all these things factor in that much more. So let me ask you this. As a fan of 100 Thieves, as somebody who watches all the games these guys are playing, what is your favorite way to see this team play? Like, who do you like seeing them play around early? Like, especially for closer, who do you want to see them invest in?
I mean, my biggest thing is this. What I love about the squad right now that 100 Thieves has built is that anyone can really pop off. Even listening in their communications, Tenacity, when he played Fiora, was immediately saying, I'm ready to 1v9. And then everyone in the lineup said, I'm going to 1v9. And they made the joke. At that point, why don't we just play 5v5 as we get on out to the Rift here? I just love the confidence. The camaraderie's there. You can see the potential. And I think the boys know it, right? They're starting to get their nerves down a little bit. They've got 2 incredible leaders. Closer always has that killer mentality. So as time goes on, this team will just get better and better. But, a few players here on CLG were previously in the 100 Thieves camp and both of our, in through Academy. And love seeing them at the LCS now. But as the dance begins, let's get into the game. 100 Thieves versus CLG.
All right, CLG, not going to do anything super interesting here early on. You can see Palafox just hanging out near his own chicken pit. The 1 ward was already placed down from 100 Thieves to just keep an eye on that. Lots of junglers do like starting with the chicken camp these days. The addition of the pets makes it very easy to clear out the AoE, but it does look like Closer's going to be starting at the red, as will Contractz. Sometimes we see these top laners more and more frequently, ever since we saw the 1 Fudge versus Contractz game, starting off trying to harass at the red buff.
Exactly, and Gwen's another champion that can do the same thing, right? You can actually start with the skip and slash, start with the E, go over that Baron pit, and end up in this 1v1 that the other jungler cannot win. Actually happened to Contractz, I believe, in that game.
Yeah, he was the victim.
So definitely going to be playing safe around that. You can also see Tenacity is going Ignite, so this is not actually the Ghost. This is more about the early kill pressure. Ghost more facilitating the team fights, more facilitating those later stages. But look at these heavy trades, and it's all about how many Qs Busio can land, because every single Q is such a huge health differential. It's not just about the damage, but it's also the healing you get back every time you hit someone with it.
As they trade damage in the bot lane, you've got to think the sustain is there. Having Soraka as already, the fight's happening up top. You mentioned it, Tenacity does hit level 2 first, so Dhokla will have to show respect there and still just continue to clean up this lane as early advantage in the top lane going to Tenacity.
And I really like the Ignite, especially in a matchup like Irelia versus Gwen, because of the fact that both of these champions are heal stackers. They both go Conqueror, they both love to have a deceptive amount of lifesteal, and the ability to guarantee the cut on that healing could be what gives Tenacity the edge in a matchup with two players who can both explode to take over the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Irelia almost guaranteed going Bladed Rune King first. There's so much healing off of the Q executes on minions as well, so it is really, really important. The Bush here, though, going to 100 Thieves in that bot lane as well, and Tenacity getting aggressive with Dhokla. And without the passive stacked up, can't really fully commit, but you can see they're calling Closer up, so Tenacity's job now is to try to play a little bit dumb, you know, try to actually get him to come in, look for that fight without giving away too much.
See, this is what I try to plan in gold, and then we're just completely off by too far, and then I'm jungling, the blame begins to happen, mutes happen in the chat, but you can see here as we get rid of the Fog of War just how close this would spin. And remember, Tenacity does have the Ignite. Nice job quickly stepping back. Unfortunately, maybe a little bit too ahead of himself there, Closer, as they're not able to find this early gank, and he'll just have to back on off.
Yeah, it feels a lot better if you can get the knock up there. Feels like you might even be able to force away a flash or get enough damage to make him really scared about a follow-up dive. But because it doesn't connect, Dhokla's just fine. He'll farm up everything underneath the turret. Farm's still pretty close between these two. Closer still has priority over the top side, so he'll grab that Scuttle Crab. You're going to see Contractz doing the same thing on the other side of the map. He took one extra camp during the time that Closer made that gank, so that's the trade between the two for now. Contractz, again, gonna swoop around and see if maybe there's an angle here on Bjergsen, but Bjergsen all the way on the other side of the lane. Might not be able to find what he's looking for, especially not with Palafox having no mana to really follow up.
Yeah, there should really be no shot. I mean, Bjergsen knows his jungler's top side, so he's playing towards that side of the lane. Contractz could come in here, but if you go for a Q flash there, nothing's gonna be there to follow it up. Palafox is so Bjergsen respects it just enough and will back it off. And I like that Closer look for the attempt on top side, but also that he's not fully overcommitting to it. You know, you don't want to get too inefficient with your pathing. You don't want to wait too long. You know, he's bailing out. Basically, he went for that EQ as soon as the Scuttle's about to spawn, and then he just heads right down, picks up his camps, and he's even on farm pretty much, you know, after he picks up these crows.
Tenacity with this ward does spot exactly where Contractz is. Might let the bot lane play a little bit more aggressive down towards this turret as they had a nice health advantage, and that's exactly what will happen as Doublelift gets a great chunk of damage onto Poome. As look at the size of this wave pushing on in now, 100 Thieves. They smell blood in the water, but Closer has been spotted.
Yeah, he's gonna try to wrap around here. The vision plate comes out, and they want to try to push them off this wave. Even if they don't fully commit to the dive, they want to make them actually miss these minions here. They take one plate, and once Contractz gets here, Closer will have to leave.
Luger's at 200 HP. Closer goes over the wall, but now he might be in some trouble. Luger is still alive. Contractz gets the kill, and it's Closer who burns down. CLG get the outplay on the 100 Thieves dive.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough and forced play right there as Closer was not only spotted on the scuttle, but then doesn't know that in that brush he's seen at all times, and unfortunately does get taken down there for first blood. Nice help from the CLG camp to slide on over, as they will take a slight gold lead to start. Top lane continuing to brawl as expected when Gwen and Irelia are in the same lane.
Yeah, not going to be happy about first blood going over Contractz, but at the end of the day, you know, one thing working for them is they were still denying that farm, you know, from this Sivir. So you look down to the bot lane, you look at Doublelift, he's opened up, you know, 15 CS lead there in that 1v1 already. So the buy is going to be much better for him. The gold went to the enemy jungler, which are going to be really happy that it's not in Sivir's pockets.
Yeah, the Vi obviously likes to be a little bit ahead of the curve of the game, but you would much rather see that money on Sivir. You would much rather see that money on something that's going to scale into a true win condition later on. CLG is up just about only the amount of gold that you get rewarded for the first blood, so it's not like they're building up these huge advantages anywhere else.
And Azael, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it something along the lines of like 12 or 13 minions is the equivalent of a kill? So, you know, right there, yes, the gold goes towards a jungler, but when you see how Doublelift's playing right now, you think, hey, maybe there's a potential to continue to swing this wave in their favor, and with Closer coming down towards the bot lane, maybe more priority there, especially as both teams dance around this first dragon. We'll see if the stacking comes into play, as that has been obviously in the repertoire of 100 Thieves throughout the season. We've seen them get all 4 Drakes and Soul in a couple of their games so far. As the continued trading happens in the bot lane, and just as I call it, there's Closer continuing to put bot prio on the map.
Well, Closer will have some vision over that bottom lane neutral objective in the Drake. Remember, a lot of times these days, we're seeing those first Drakes be taken around 8 or 9 minutes because they're often traded with the Herald on the other side of the map. Teams just handshaking, all right, we're not ready for a big old fight over any of these things just yet. Tenacity also establishing some vision here in the topside river for 100 Thieves.
And, you know, with that early gank from Closer, we saw it, especially with Tenacity on Fiora, where they got the first couple kills. when he gave that double gank. And in the team comms, Closer actually says, all right, don't lose your lead, as we'll take a pause on that for a moment as the gank does come on, and Tenacity now trading damage. Irelia ult comes down. Unfortunately, it does not look like it's enough, and there's that point-and-click stun. CLG out to a fantastic start now, up by 800 gold and 2 kills. But on the other side of the map, there's Closer now on the Dragon.
Yeah, Contractz 2 early kills here. It's going to be up to him to try to snowball this game. The Closer will try to trade it back for the Dragon on that bottom side. They do have 2v2 prio still down there. Are into a quick pause, and we'll give you any updates we get as soon as we do get them. But that is that disadvantage when you are playing with Ignite on the Gwen. It's much more difficult to actually get out of some of these situations.
Yeah.
You don't have the Ghost, you don't have the Flash to really escape.
Right.
And he didn't have full vision. Even though he had that one ward down in the river, he had no vision in the Tri-Brush, was pushed up pretty far, so it's a dangerous spot to be in.
And CLG are loving the way that this early game is looking. I talked about the volatility of this squad. They have some games that look really good. They have others that don't. Getting off to a start like this can inspire that faith and inspire that confidence to be able to push forward and be able to continue building this lead as we go into the mid game. Doublelift, I think, is still going to remain the #1 problem, the #1 thing that they know they have to deal with and find some sort of an answer for.
What I'm wondering is if that was just a great timing from Vi there in the jungle, hitting 6 off that top camp and immediately going, hey, Tenacity's been pushed up all game. He's been throwing those lanes forward. We already saw him go down and ward his river with potentially trying to get some vision there towards the Rift Herald, but he is punished. Did he even use his flash in that? I think he just registered that or didn't have
Tenacity? Yeah, he's playing the Ignite, so no flash. He's
sorry. I didn't even realize that he was running TP. That shows the gold in me. See? I would have not realized that in my game, never ganked that lane, and then been complained when I never punished that before the Unleashed teleport is available. That shows how clueless I am, so.
No, but I mean, it was a really good call out from you, right? Because he did spend his Trinket Ward on the Herald, right? And that hadn't spawned just yet, but he wanted to have that vision down preemptively. Had that Trinket Ward actually been spent on Tri-Brush, he probably would have been safe.
Yep.
But, felt that he was in a position where he'd be able to escape from those ganks if they were coming in. So felt confident with just the pink ward in that river. Fortunately for them, not going to work out. I saw one ready call in chat from 100 Thieves side, so maybe just waiting on CLG to ready up. Maybe some issues working on their side.
Yeah, I've been told that the issue is not gameplay related. It is related to some sort of tech issue here in the studio, so hopefully we'll be able to get that resolved. So it won't be anything that can delay us too much longer, one would hope, because I don't want to lose the momentum of this game. We know how disruptive it can be, players talking about we've already got this momentum built up, and then we got to take the break.
No, it's perfect. It's giving me just enough time to go unplug one of their mice. So,
the saboteur.
Yeah, hopefully we can help Tenacity up there from the level 6 Vi coming right on back. But no, so far, I think a pretty solid laning phase. If you're a fan of CLG, you've got to be happy with what you're seeing up to this moment. And it's quite aware, right? They know Doublelift now has a 22 CS lead in the bot lane. And as that continues to swing more and more, you've got to begin to wonder when the item differential can come into play, where we've seen Doublelift. He's had the killer instinct. You mentioned, Azael, 3-0 so far on Zeri. He knows when he's got that advantage and he knows when to press it.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I think has always been the hallmark of Doublelift. He's been a great laner, but he has won his championships in team fights, right? That is always where he made that money, where he was able to really take over in games. And it's been great to see him coming back and still maintaining that level of aggression. I think that was something that a lot of people were excited about. We came into these team fights on the Zeri. We're seeing him dash in. We're seeing him really try to maximize that championship, as Busio's family here in the crowd. Shout out to Busio's parents showing up to support the rookie, support the young 100 Thieves talent here, who's been having a pretty solid showing next to Doublelift so far throughout his debut here in the LCS, finally getting to the biggest stage here in North America. Of course, on that Soraka this game, which is something we don't get to see a whole lot of. So whenever I see one of those unusual picks, I'm always excited to see how practiced the player is on it and what they can achieve. And that's something he's been confident to do, right? He's role swapping over from mid lane to bot lane a while ago. We saw him bring out the Azir. We're seeing him bring out the Soraka. I love that flexibility. We're back into the action here. 100 Thieves going to grab the first dragon of the game here, and still relatively early on. So with this bot lane prio, going to be interested to see if they want to continue stacking those up and try to force some soul win conditions. And that's a great answer. They just saw Vi near the top lane. They know that they've had vision control towards the bot side, and I actually like this a lot. They might just run it right up the map a little bit, try to put some pressure now as that Rift Herald does spawn on in. They already had the vision from what Tenacity dropped down earlier on. Doublelift getting back to that lane first himself, as
I like this answer a lot, CaptainFlowers.
Oh, absolutely. It's not the handshake that I was talking about earlier. Instead, they're just walking it all over the Rift, taking everything they can find, the Drake into the Herald. It's 100 Thieves being happy with these neutral objectives, CLG conceding them from the very beginning. Luger and Poome both staying in bottom lane. They've no desire to roam. They wanted to just grab the turret plate there, try to catch back up a little bit to the lead that Doublelift is building himself. You can see up about 200 gold at this point over his counterpart in Luger, but it's still CLG with about a 1,000 gold lead overall.
And now, look, I'm obviously a League of Legends expert, Azael. I know what team scales more and more and would prefer to play into the late game, but maybe for our lesser players out there in the chat, like, I don't know, the silver players, us golds are really sophisticated. Who do you think going into the late game would favor between these two pick and ban drafts?
I mean, I think it depends how you want to play it out. You know, when I'm looking at 100 Thieves, I think their 5v5 is going to be a lot stronger in the later stages. But I think CLG have a lot of ways to play through the side lanes and to try to set up picks with the Vi, with the Taliyah. So for them, it's going to be more about splitting up fights if they are going into a 5v5, finding that good Taliyah wall to section someone off, or playing more heavily through that side lane.
And that's what I want to see Palafox come into here. I need to see some big ultis. I need to see some coordinated efforts out of CLG to make these things happen. Because remember, even though they have 2 kills, one of them was initially instigated by 100 Thieves. So either Palafox needs to be ready to punish another one of those 100 Thieves plays, or invent something of his own to get out there and get involved. Dhokla and Tenacity will trade back and forth, just snapping around a little bit here in the top side. Tenacity, very early tier 2 boots purchase versus Dhokla just hard rushing for the Blade of the Ruined King. Tenacity is going to feel a little bit better right now until Dhokla completes that first item.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Tenacity, after that first death, especially because it is physical damage jungler, physical damage top, he's going down towards those tabbies, and he's more going to play this lane defensively now. He knows he has to be somewhat careful, and especially once the Blade of the Ruined King is completed, he's going to be very far behind as far as power on these 2 champions. It's going to be a long time till he has his Rift Maker, and it's going to be Dhokla running the lane, really, you can expect until that point.
You see Busio looking to get some forward vision there into the enemy jungle. One thing I want to keep track of, 400 Thieves, Busio in the player comps has done a phenomenal job of keeping track of vision for the opponents. I mean, being, yes, your typical support player, but one of the things that really stuck out for me was calling what abilities were available. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've played a lot of Vi. When you don't have your ultimate, you almost feel naked, right? When you don't have that lockdown. So it's important, 400 Thieves, to really keep track of, when that gank came in top lane, when they last saw the Vi ult used, because when that Vi ult's up, they're going to look for a gank on cooldown.
Absolutely, and one of the things that's really difficult about that is actually tracking the impact that CDR has on this as well, right? And that's something that I think a lot of the great support players can do, is take that into consideration. The Black Cleaver completed here already very early for Contractz, so gonna have a good bit of CDR for himself there.
But the reason that Black Cleaver is completed so early is because both kills are on Contractz. So I want to see CLG continue to try to make something happen here with them. I think when you're up against Azir and you're up against Zeri, you're always thinking about how ferocious that's going to be later on in the game. Remember, it was 100 Thieves that were at the cusp of victory off of scaling against Evil Geniuses, and then it didn't work out. Contractz coming bottom. Not quite getting the turret here. Kraken Slayer done for Luger, making sure that he's got a little bit more power than Doublelift directly right now. Let's see what they can find. They're ready to go for a 4v3, and it's CLG looking for Doublelift. Contractz wants to take him out. He's nearly got him. There's the Vault Breaker. He'll break his face. It's 2 kills over to CLG.
CLG went big in the bot side there. 100 Thieves was sticking around after the Herald crash, trying to push in and knock down that first turret. But Palafox makes the roam faster. Bjergsen committing the TP, but it's before Unleashed Teleport, so he's nowhere nearby to really join the fight.
And you mentioned CaptainFlowers, the Kraken Slayer coming on in. They knew they had that item advantage. Even though Doublelift had more gold on him, 3+ turret plates, he just now got the chance to go back and spend that gold. So with that power spike, with the Taliyah, we'll see it again here. They know, hey, let's go. They don't even get the turret, unfortunately, as now the wall's gonna wind up coming on through. And you can see the middle roam, you wound up mentioning it, you wanted to see Palafox do it, and here he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he gets down there very, very early. Bjergsen was actually really fast on the response TP, but this is the problem. It's not 14 minutes yet.
Yeah.
Unleashed TP not available, so by the time he TP's in, Doublelift is already down. It felt like they were aware that the 3v3 was there. They felt confident in that, so they wanted to stick around, try to knock down that turret. But Doublelift positioning very aggressively gets punished a bit for that greed, just not taking into account how much later Bjergsen would arrive than Palafox.
And with CLG making a move towards the bottom lane of 100 Thieves, towards the point of strength of 100 Thieves, they've nullified that lead and that spot where 100 wants to fight around. And it means CLG now has the confidence to be able to take the second Drake. They're not going to allow 100 Thieves to stack towards any sort of an early Drake win condition. Meanwhile, topside, Dhokla versus Tenacity. Dhokla's looking pretty good here in the 1v1.
I mean, he's got the Blade of the Rune King done, and like I said, you know, once you go for tier 2 boots, if your opponent is rushing Mythic, you basically take the L until you get Riftmaker. You're gonna have to sit back, you're gonna have to play it defensively, so Dhokla really wants to exert that pressure and try to get CLG winning through multiple lanes now, because as you said, bot has been equalized. They're actually ahead now in gold there for Sivir. They've taken a dragon of their own, so they've really eliminated all the advantage that 100 Thieves had built up.
And now think about it, when you get the 2v2 in the top lane with the jungler in the top or down in the bot lane of 3v3, this is where the gold differential on one character really begins to swing. 3-0 now on the Vi with an assist as well and a slight CS lead. Vi is absolutely one of the most powerful champions out of the map right now, and they know it. As you can see, that gold difference, 5,300 for Contractz and Closer, over 1,300 behind.
And this is a point in the game where 100 Thieves basically just can't fight because the mythics are all getting completed by their opponents. They don't actually have them yet. It's a full item completion for Dhokla, for Contractz, for Poome, for Luger, and their counterparts, are not actually completing those items just yet. So they're gonna have to wait until at the very least they have their first items completed. Bjergsen obviously has his now. You can see that the Core Drinker is well coming in for Closer. Yep. So they are closing in on that, but definitely don't want to fight, I think, until they have it done.
I thought we were about to see Contractz go right over that wall. That's what I would have done and probably thrown the game, but CLG, they know they have the advantage. They're thinking on the same wavelength as they'll go capture this Rift Herald.
Yeah, Contractz has got to be careful with those sorts of opportunities that come along to throw yourself in there, especially when you have all these kills early on. You can see the extra 300 gold bounty on his head. He will be a priority target for 100 Thieves to take him down if he does go in too early, if they are disjointed in the comms on CLG. So again, they're going to try to take things cleanly and slowly. They've got themselves that second Herald. Contractz is the one with it. They'll be able to pick and choose where they want to deploy this thing. And one of the big things here, even though CLG is ahead 2,000 gold, the only turret taken this game has been taken by 100 Thieves. So with this Herald, I'd like to see CLG open up the map a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tenacity, gonna have to be a little bit careful here, but no one too many people in the area. I'm just interested to see what CLG is going to do with their lane assignments now, because for now they look like they're sending Palafox out towards top, and you want Sivir to have this kind of safe bastion to farm in mid lane, but the problem with sending Taliyah top is that it really limits your mobility on the map, right? You can't just get out to both the side lanes. If you're playing through mid, you have the ability to threaten those side lanes really, really easily with that Taliyah ult, and really want Taliyah to be actually grouping up with Dhokla and finding those plays through that. So if they're on split sides of the map, you're not really going to be able to play together at all.
Dhokla farming up bottom side here, has his tier 2 boots completed, Mercury treads to help him against the Gwen just a little bit more. Tenacity still trying to get that Riftmaker pieced together, and he pretty much just has to stay away from Dhokla until it happens. 2 minutes until the next Drake spawns. It is a Hex Tech Soul, which means all these individual Drakes will also be very valuable.
As again, we are getting towards that middle game with CLG continuing to expand on that gold lead. You mentioned the turret difference. With that Rift Herald still in the pocket, that gold's still on the map. So once they get that turret down, that'll only increase their lead even more. And at this point in the game, 2.4K, it's not insurmountable, Azael, by any means, but Doublelift recently did an interview where he mentions that the best teams in the world in a scenario like this will know how to perfectly play the map, continue to snowball, and that 2.3K lead will go to 3K, then 4K. Next thing you know, they're one off Soul. Next thing you know, the Baron's spawning, and they're going for that. I'm interested to see if CLG can make that happen, because 100 Thieves against some of the best teams in the league have kept in the game, even down 7,000 gold.
Yeah, absolutely. They have been very tenacious, but we can see CLG trying to expand that lead. They use the Taliyah walls, zone them off the turret, drop the Herald, so they will crack that. And for 100 Thieves, it's going to be about, minimizing mistakes, waiting to get towards those power spikes, and trying to set up that one really powerful fight where the gold disadvantage isn't showing itself in completed items. When you have 2 items and they don't yet have 3, things like that is where you're really looking to fight to minimize the deficit that they're at.
And I really like seeing Palafox use the wall like that. Taliyah walls don't always have to force a fight. Instead, they can do exactly the opposite and say, no, you can't come anywhere near the turret. We're just going to take the objective, continue building the lead. Nearly 3,000 gold now with 30 seconds till Drake.
Well, the biggest thing that also does too, as you mentioned, it opens up the map. I'd rather use that wall to give the ability for Contractz to roam even more, find more opportunities to maybe get in that jungle, force some fights with that ultimate. It makes complete sense. And as you mentioned, they're not wanting to fight. They also know 100 Thieves don't want to fight. let's just make sure we can get some more map positioning for ourselves, as they're now up to a 3,000 gold advantage, and you see the Hextech map now coming into play as the dance around the dragon begins. It's spawning at 4 seconds, river control over to 100 Thieves, and vision control as well. You can see all blue all over.
Yeah, and they do have their 1-item spikes, obviously, on their side, and the second item isn't done for CLG, so this is the same principle that 100 Thieves are trying to fight around. They're trying to fight before the second item completion does come through. You can see Gwen is actually roaming down, so they want to potentially force the TP out of Dhokla. When Gwen shows mid, they have that early 5v4 to try to get something done, but they're just using it for wave control for now.
He's got to be careful. He's got to be careful. He does not have flash, and there it is. Tenacity now being ulted, players flying in from both sides. Closer tries to answer, down goes Tenacity. Zonya's used by Palafox, damage still coming in. Doublelift is gonna push forward. There's the killer instinct we mentioned, but again, he's a little bit too far split from the team as he dashes through the wall. Oh, that is one slippery pickle as he gets out with his life.
Doublelift barely escaping there from CLG trying to collapse on him, but look at the health bars. That's the other thing you got to remember here. There's not a lot to work with for Doublelift. No summoners, no health bar, low HP across the board. Even though it's a 1-for-1 trade, it's CLG who have enough of an advantage to secure the second Drake for themselves.
And this is almost the second time this game is Azael where I almost feel like Tenacity thinks he put his flash on F, which is what the better players use. But here again, no flash. They recognize this and they immediately dive on in.
Yep, no flash, no ghost, no hesitation there. Contractz gets within the shroud, then uses the ulti. 100 Thieves just pile in, trying to bail him out. Doublelift is largely untouched, but you can see Poome, delays it a little bit here with the polymorph, buying time for Palafox to get in. It costs a flash there from Doublelift to get that kill, but then intelligently kiting back to the wall to create that space to get out without giving his life up.
And Dhokla on Irelia right there. You see Bjergsen having to show a bit of respect. 215 CS already. And wow.
I agree.
Thank you.
You're smurfing it.
Thank you, guys. Wow, these are all paid actors. Feel free to send your payment of choice after this. And thank you for the love, everybody. I really do appreciate it as we continue on to this game. I want to see if 100 Thieves can come back, though, because down 3K gold. Yes, it's tough, but it's not insurmountable. I feel like even in that last fight, for example, if they're there maybe a little bit quicker, or they're able to keep Tenacity alive with that Soraka ultimate, maybe there's a chance they can swing it. And even with Doublelift going that far in, maybe if he was a little bit closer towards Bjergsen, there's a chance to still swing that one. Doesn't feel out of reach yet.
And talking about Bjergsen, one thing I feel that he just has not done this game is had any impact at any moments that matter. We saw him have the late TP in bottom lane where initially it was a couple of kills going over to CLG, but because it wasn't unleashed, he couldn't get in there. He is the only player on the map that is 0-0-0 right now, and I feel like for 100 Thieves, if you want to stop this CLG lead from becoming bigger, if you want to stop them from building up these advantages that now they can just start running over the game with, Bjergsen's got to get in there.
And then I guess I want to ask you, Azael, how do you do that when you are an Azir going up against a Taliyah who has the ability to use her ultimate and get around the map much, much faster?
I mean, it's difficult, especially because they lost a mid-tier 1, which is generally where you want to be camped up. Azir isn't much of a side laner, so it's just going to be about answering these waves as well as he can, and then trying to find that good setup at a team fight, right? We saw that last team fight got preempted by CLG's engage onto Tenacity. And that was a moment where Bjergsen would have been able to get involved and try to flex his muscle.
And getting involved is going to be more difficult now that second items are coming online for critical CLG players. Radiant Virtue done for Contractz, extra tankiness, extra power when he goes into these fights, as well as Archangel's Staff being done for Palafox. He needs 12 more mana and it evolves into Seraph's Embrace, which means it's going to be much more difficult to trade him as a kill like they were able to with Doublelift finding it in the last fight.
Absolutely, and that's actually really important because he lost his stopwatch in that last fight. He lost his flash in the last fight. He does have a spellbook, so potentially could spellbook over to a more defensive summoner here to try to stay alive. But we'll see if 100 Thieves are even going to be ready to fight at this next objective. Because it's going to be about, can they complete their second items here for that next fight? We can see CLG's richest members are already doing that. Dhokla and Contractz are already on those 2 items. Palafox already on 2 items here as well. And Luger has to have a lot of gold in pocket. Yeah, he's got 1,500 in pocket, so he's getting close to his Navori quick blades.
This is one of those moments where it's so interesting to see how the early game and just some bot priority can really be the saving grace for 100 Thieves in this one. They could very well have been in a scenario where this dragon spawning in 90 seconds could have been sold, but because they get that early bot priority, because they're able to go and grab that first Rift Herald, the damage isn't as bad as it could be. They can forfeit this one, get those items online, and fight for the 4th Drake later on around the 29-minute mark. But instead, right now, vision control beginning to be fought over again about a minute and a half out. That's when you begin to see it, as it looks like some players from 100 Thieves will be backing up and buying some more items.
And you can see that vision control for CLG is largely focused around the mid lane. Switching over to the 100 Thieves view right now, the jungle is dark. It is pitch black, leading towards that Drake pit in that bottom side river. There's vision being placed down, but it's only from the other camp. And with CLG destroying the last remaining tier 1 turret. Oh, nope, never mind, excuse me. They still got that top one standing just barely. But getting rid of the tier 1 in bottom lane makes it that much more dangerous to approach this Drake for 100 Thieves. It feels like it has to be a just give it angle.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, second item is already done, though, for Doublelift. Bjergsen has it as well. Tenacity is pretty far off, and he's actually falling very far behind now in that 1v1. Dhokla got the early advantage.
There you go. He got it. Sorry, all right, now taken care of.
With the Wit's End through, it becomes really, really tough because either the solo laner is actually going to get sent to Dhokla. He's got a lot of MR to deal with them. With both the Merc Treads and the Wit's End, it's a super efficient build. He's going to be kind of unmatched in these 1v1s, and he has a nearly 2-level lead over Tenacity as well, as Dhokla's closing in on 16.
This could be scary now for 100 Thieves as you look at your minimap. Irelia is there on the pinch. Dragon spawning now in 4 seconds. This is not a make or break fight for this dragon. 100 Thieves still have the time to back it up, and it looks like they might just try to force the engagement here in the mid lane, as they know Irelia is a little bit more split. Maybe try to force that teleport out. Nothing will happen as of yet, though, as river control continues to be in favor of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, you can see where Tenacity is playing. He's actually trying to mark the Irelia to make sure that Irelia can't have a free entrance into that fight. He doesn't want to get caught in a 1v1, though, and Dhokla is a lot more powerful, so he has to be somewhat careful. Bjergsen playing towards that bottom side as well. They are well aware of where Dhokla could be.
Yeah, they want to make sure that Irelia does not get that dream flank with the ulti hitting multiple players in the middle of the river, in the middle of one of these neutral fights. As Poome, Contractz, and Palafox back underneath the tier 1 turret, Luger wrapping around the longest possible way to make sure that he doesn't get caught out, regrouping with the rest of the team. Tenacity will go ahead and dash right into the Drake pit, clear out the vision that exists from the side of CLG, and he'll start up the Drake on his own. Even if he's behind as the Gwen, he can still solo a Drake very easily. Palafox fires off the Weavers while Poome nearly dies to Bjergsen there. You can see he popped the Shirelias, still has his ulti, still has his flash, but he had to walk away there, and Bjergsen has the impact that might just be able to win this Drake for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, they've got to start it up here. This should be theirs. We can see the chunks that they got is actually really, really important. Dhokla was spotted on that bot lane wave as well, so they're exactly aware of where he is. And just slow, patient play, the Azir makes a difference in this one.
And one of those moments where, hey, we'll take that. You're down 5k gold, you'll take the dragon. Again, that now just adds to that timer. Azael, you mentioned early on in this game, 100 Thieves, you favored their comp in the late game. 100 Thieves know that as well. They'll take that one. Now Dragon split 2-2, but they might look for an answer on the other side of the map. It's Tenacity caught in the middle of the recall there. The ult does not connect as he does. Wait, Gwen's ability dodges that?
Yep, if you can get out of range of it and pop the hole of mist, it disjoints it.
I knew that. No.
This is a really fair ability.
You guys, come on. Really?
It's a really fair
Actually, it feels so bad, too, because it doesn't even fizzle it. It puts your ult on cooldown for Vi. So it's pretty rough. And that's why we see Contractz generally. He's using the Vault Breaker. He's trying to get right in on top of Tenacity, then pop the ult when he's point blank, so you can't actually get that disjoint.
Well, getting the disjoint feels great for Tenacity not getting caught out here. Let's take another look at it, because you can see he draws the line, but then as soon as he approaches the edge, he touches the edge of the mist, he's immediately stopped.
Yeah, see, I could never do that. I knew, now that I know, I maybe could try that, but no way I could ever pull that off in the game. The gold lead, though, now up to 6,000 in this one. 100 Thieves down 3 turrets, 4 kills, but even in Dragons and potential still on this map to make plays happen.
And the big thing is that, in the 5v5, Dhokla has most of that gold lead, right? So you have to worry about him. But if Tenacity can actually just answer Dhokla in the side lane and keep him in that 1v1, the 4v4 is actually pretty even on gold because almost all of that differential is in the top lane. It's nearly 3,000 just between the 2 top laners. So, 3k split amongst 4 other players, not nearly as big of a deal. So if 100 Thieves can find 4v4s, there is more potential for them to be fighting on an evener scale.
Yeah, and 2,700 gold difference on the junglers as well. That's almost a full item in this one. Contractz, he's feeling real confident on the map right now as he's going to continue to clear vision around this Baron.
The big thing is the carries are very close. It's Palafox ahead by about 700, Doublelift ahead on the other side by about, what, 500 here? So that equalizes almost entirely for the most important damage dealers in the team fights if those top laners are absent.
And we've seen a way that 100 Thieves can win out the fights. You know, they have much better sustain. You have the Soraka, so if you can actually poke away prior to that fight with Zeri lasers, with the Azir Qs, you can soften up CLG and dissuade them from engaging.
And am I wrong in saying that there's no true tank here as the engage comes on in its Contractz with the ultimate, as the polymorph does connect as well, but it's not going to be enough to take down Closer. 100 Thieves will walk away from that one for the moment, and with Soraka sustained, they should be able to recover, but this might be enough to start on the Baron.
The big thing is, it was Closer they went after. It's Closer that no longer has a flash, and it's Closer that was chunked away. But now he's getting healed up by the Soraka. Baron at 6,000 HP. CLG looking for the turn. They go after Tenacity first. He's polymorphed. Hallowed Mist gonna come out as that wears away to keep him healthy. Dhokla with a flash in. Dhokla thinking about chasing this further with Contractz coming in. That might just be the angle. Dokla's gonna be careful here. Tries to use the W. Tenacity's already down. Doublelift's gonna be scared away by Luger. CLG got 2, but can they get any more? They'll fall back. Poome at 200.
Oh, the laser!
Bjergsen going for a snipe potential. Not quite gonna be there. No opportunity to dash over the wall. The laser from Doublelift won't get it either. 2-0 for CLG, and they're back onto the Baron.
Yeah, they're straight back onto it. Busio has spotted it though, so Bjergsen and Doublelift have got to get back there. They do have the Honey Fruit to heal up a little bit. It's up to Bjergsen. He's got to soften them up here. Poome is really low, so he could chicken and try to pick his moment.
Oh, but they have the Contractz ulti ready to go once more. Now Dhokla's into the back. He wants Busio. They go after Bjergsen. The damage is true, and the damage goes through. Palafox gonna keep Doublelift zoned away. Poome is the only one lost. A 1-for-1 trade as the mid laner of 100 Thieves dies for the support of CLG, but it's 100 who have stopped the Baron.
Yeah, that's the big thing to take away right there. You think a death sentence if Baron does come on through. This gold lead continuing to build for CLG as this deficit looking scarier and scarier. And from my perspective right there, Doublelift might get caught right here by Dhokla. Yeah, there's no chance, my friend. That is one scary Irelia now at 2-0-3 with 338 CS at just the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, Dhokla is monster fed. He's almost 18 at this point. 100 Thieves played the early moments of that scuffle around Baron, I think, really, really well. You know, Tenacity was able to disengage. Dhokla used his flash, couldn't actually connect to him, but then they kind of just hung around a little bit too long.
Yeah.
It allowed Contractz to get back up on Tenacity, to take him down, and that pulled 100 Thieves into a losing fight. And now they have no way to actually contest this whatsoever.
And not only can they not contest this, but look at the timers perfectly desynced. 100 Thieves was not able to steal away the Drake as a consequence of CLG going to the Baron. There's just enough time for CLG to walk down through mid, walk down to that Drake pit, and now secure this for themselves as well, bring them to a 10,000 gold lead and soul point.
And you mentioned in the last game we watched here in the LCS studio, 100 Thieves now in a pretty similar scenario to what Immortals was in. You need CLG to make a mistake. They needed C9 to make a mistake. Now you need CLG to make a mistake with where the deficit is, as we'll take a look at this fight again. And another time in this game where Tenacity gets a little bit further up, but they immediately call it out and jump right on him. And this is where I thought it was all going to go downhill really quick, but I thought, Azael, they had a chance right in this moment to potentially swing things, but it just didn't seem like they were able to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, Tenacity just mispositioned, honestly. You know, he got a little bit too far forward. He was chunked down. When Dhokla flashes out, though, he actually had the distance. And the whole time, he did have vision because there was actually wards over in that blue buff. But as Contractz was channeling the Q, he walks back into him, gets in range, gets Q'd and stunned up.
I'm going to say something crazy. What do you got? I feel like this game feels a bit different if Tenacity has Flash instead of Ignite. I don't know. That's just my crazy thought.
It's definitely possible.
Oh, Dhokla in a 1v5 kills Closer and buys enough time for his team to secure the tier 3 turret in the top lane, as well as the inhibitor. CLG gets a 1-for-1 and a 1v5. Palafox is just gonna fire the Weaver's Wall into the fountain to stop them from being able to rush out and save the Nexus turrets. First Nexus turret still under a little bit of pressure here as Doublelift just gets the snot knocked out of him. He manages to live thanks to some of the healing and support of Busio, but CLG are not done. They want to continue this pressure. They want to continue pushing forward and pushing 100 Thieves away. They've got 2 enchanted Baron Cannon minions providing some damage. The push is finally going to be stopped. They'll take the Hex Gate out, and CLG are not slowing down.
And it's just tough, right? You get a 4v4 right there with Irelia gone. I'll take Irelia and Jarvan out of the fight and hopefully have a 4v4 if you're 100 Thieves. And there's just not enough damage to be able to make a play happen. I mean, they put everything into Doublelift. They kept him alive, but at the end of it, CLG wound up walking out with more health than they started with, and that's one of those moments where you begin to think, they didn't even have Irelia there. How is this even going to be possible?
I mean, that's the gold lead in action. They're just smacking you over the head with their wallet at this point. Dhokla is so ridiculously strong. I mean, yeah, Closer finds the engage, but you are 5 levels down. The silence is there, but he just autos him to death straight up. Stopwatch was used, but he's going to have a GA completed after that death, and CLG, as you said, just weren't really dissuaded. They continue to push. The items are coming through across the board here. Death cap's done for Palafox, so he is super strong now as well.
The little bit of a silver lining here for 100 Thieves is the Baron is about to run out, so CLG will not be able to hard force anything else with that bonus. However, 100 Thieves is now stuck in their base. There are no tier 2 turrets remaining standing, so those tier 3s are going to be under pressure. Fortunately, they have the wave clear of Bjergsen of Doublelift to be able to remove most of these minion waves as long as they are not Baron enchanted. Unfortunately, both the Drake's Soul and the next Baron are spawning in under 3 minutes, and CLG has total control over Summoner's Rift, with Guardian Angels up on both of their engaged champions.
Yeah, at this point, you'd almost be impressed if CLG can throw this game, because there's really no way to take a 50-50, as they're just going to go ahead, take this split as the entrance comes on in. It's Contractz leading the charge. Teleport being used. Closer does get cut down low. That Q already ready again, as they won't find more off of it, but guess what? The survivability is there. Palafox puts down the wall, and that won't just be the green light yet to go on, and I thought they were about to explode onto Tenacity and Bjergsen right there.
Yeah, but they're going to just take the inhib. Easy peasy. They go to mid. They already had the wave prep there as well. So looking at triple inhib, 100 Thieves, which is almost impossible to come back from, as there goes Dhokla.
Dhokla's ready into the back line, and he jumps onto everybody. Now he's going to be focused fire, but it will not matter because Doublelift is already down. That's the AD carry. That's the Zeri. That's got to be it. Tenacity wants to fight back, but he can't even kill Poome. It's 2 traded for nothing as Closer tries to run away, and Palafox sets up the alley-oop for the 4-man play. Nobody dead on CLG, and they will run over 100 Thieves. The final kill for the ace. 35 minutes in, 15-2. CLG gets it done.
Brilliant performance out of CLG right there. And coming into this match, we said the storyline. They have a big win yesterday, now 2-0 to start Super Week. CLG have got to feel good taking down 100 Thieves right there.
Absolutely, and back-to-back games from Dhokla on the Irelia, where he is just taking over these games. Him and Contractz, I think, really had a strong performance. Contractz early on, answers the counter gank on bot side. You get the first kill there, gets up towards top side, takes down Tenacity, got Dhokla going, and Dhokla, never gave away that lead.
These two top side guys in Contractz and in Dhokla really just set CLG up for success there. Yes, Doublelift was able to farm, build a lead for himself in the bottom lane, but CLG answering it with the points of strength that they had built, stopping that from becoming a problem, and then picking their fights wisely, not allowing the Gwen to constantly block things with the Hallowed Mist, always being coordinated with how they engaged. And CLG is looking like a scary team if they can keep putting up performances like this.
I think I'm being told I need to leave, so...
yes, sir. It's been a pleasure having you here, Courage. You had an awesome first cast, but now we got to send you down to the stage.
I'm going to do this interview.
Best of luck, my friend.
He killed it.
Yeah, no, that
was straight up just like a regular cast.
Yeah,
that was slotted right in, did play-by-play, did the color cast as well.
Yeah, nothing to it, man. He was 100 Thieves' most valuable player. Just kidding.
Absolutely. He gets a dub, even if the team doesn't today. But this is one that I think 100 Thieves are going to want to try to learn from. It's one that Tenacity is going to want to try to forget. This is a game where was punished for his positioning. I think a lot of different scenarios. Courage even talked about, hey, would this game have looked different had he had Flash? It's possible if he had Flash or Ghost, some sort of mobility summoner there to actually escape from some of these situations that he was putting himself in. It could have helped, but definitely I think a lot of unforced errors on his positioning, early on, pushing up, spent his Cricket Ward on the Herald Pit instead of actually putting in Try, dies because of that, unfortunately. Then we saw in mid lane him getting caught out and killed off. We see again over by the blue buff, he actually gets away from Dhokla, then walks back into the Vault Breaker from Vi. There was a lot of situations where him dying actually caused not only that to happen, but his team to try to bail him out, which got them into losing fights.
And I think that, honestly, Dhokla and Contractz just played the game much better than their counterparts this time around. And then you had a situation in mid, Bjergsen's on Azir, And when this is already happening, when your two frontliners are that far behind, like you were talking about in the game, it's hard to have that impact. Yeah, he was 0-0-0 at 20 minutes, but he's in a game state where it's hard to really do a whole lot without feeling like you're just burger flipping it and throwing yourself in the middle for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly difficult. And even for people who would say, oh, well, you just got to get in there and go for a shuffle. Well, it's actually really hard against Taliyah because you're just stunning yourself if you go through the rocks and instantly dying. So the windows which you can go in are so rare.
Well, it was a very good game for CLG. And now I want to officially remind you all that we are live with tickets for the LCS Spring Final in Raleigh, North Carolina on April 8th and April 9th. Head over to Ticketmaster.com right now to claim your spot. But coming up this very moment, we're tossing it over to the stage to join Courage and Dhokla for the Verizon post-game interview.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. I just teleported down here, folks. Give it up again for CLG on their big win against 100 Thieves. Dhokla, you were the story of the matchup right there, absolutely taking over in the end. You had all 4 players or 5 players of 100 Thieves jump on you. You still got a kill. How's the confidence feeling for CLG at the end of that one?
I mean, the game took a bit longer to end than we would have liked, but by that point in the game, like, I was just so strong. So, I mean, I knew I could take maybe 1 or 2 down with me when, like, they all sent 5 after me, so I was pretty confident in that situation.
No, it was great to watch. I mentioned early on that, you know, you guys got an early lead, and you did a great job of closing it on out. Was there any moment in that game where things looked a little bit sketchy, or was it smooth sailing all the way through?
No, I mean, they kind of just did nothing, and, I mean, they just did nothing. I mean, on that Dragon, we just messed up on how we wanted to contest it, but I don't think they had any, like, really proactive plays, so they kind of just rolled over and died.
Yeah, now I am a very high skill gold player. Would you ever want to duo queue with me?
In ARAM? Like...
Yeah, major shout out to the rest of the CLG players for popping off today. No, Dhokla, look, you guys are 2-0 now in Super Week. You've got to be feeling good. What's the mindset heading into tomorrow? How much would it mean to this team to finish 3-0?
Yeah, I mean, we play FlyQuest tomorrow, which they are undefeated as of now. So, you know, we beat EG when they were undefeated last split in summer. So hoping to do the same with FlyQuest, you know, end off Super Week right.
Hey, well, look, you got the momentum in your favor. Big matchup tomorrow versus FlyQuest. This has been Dhokla on stage with me. Guys, TSM versus FlyQuest is up next as we go to this break. Go ahead and take a look at Vikla and Prince taking on the LCS Lounge to School. We'll see you there.
Okay, today we will teach Korean League of Legends good word and bad word. So Vikla teaching good word first.
Yes.
Let's go, Vikla.
Okay. Good word first is 개지렸다. Is my team is very well played. 와, 개지렸다. It's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
First bad word is 바보. So
Papa.
this word is your team give to kill to enemy. You say 바보, this stupid guy. 바보. 바보.
Babo.
And 멍청이 also same means. 바보 멍청이.
Who on FlyQuest is Babo Mungchungi?
Why?
Oh, he's pointing at Vikla.
I didn't tell. Okay,
And
other good word.
Is good player, or good player, or 잘한다. Just 잘한다.
잘한다.
잘한다. Yep. Yeah. Good.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome, nice.
And second bad word is
Yes, I know.
similar. So if good play and bad play also, this is like wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say that to all of my teammates.
Add word. This mean if our jungler like speaker give kill to enemy bot lane, I say like means. Yeah, he know this word, so I didn't use that to him. Last bad word means. Yeah, it's not good player. Can use not good player.
Okay.
You use this word in Korean solo queue. You can't play League 3 days.
Yeah.
Remember this. Careful.
I feel prepared.
How do
I
you
feel
say
prepared.
like good game?
Oh, GG can use Korean 수고. 수고.
Sugo.
Oh, GG. Well played. 수고.
Sugo.
Sugo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Sugo.
수고.
Sugo.
Go.
Go. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.